Hey everyone, what's up? It's Drew from the Drew Experience, the autistic white Charles Barkley, your host. Make sure to hit the like, share, subscribe button to the Drew Experience. It's the #1 show for combat sports on YouTube or on Instagram or everywhere. Any support helps as I'm trying to get to 500 subscribers by the end of March. And also just want to say thanks to all my supporters. Once again, this is a bit of a different episode. Normally it's martial arts based, but martial arts is training. It's considered fitness. And today I have an upcoming trainer in Montreal. He's not only upcoming, but he's doing something very different in order to get himself out there. I had to get him on because he was recommended by my friends Mo, Matt, and John from Firefit. I'm joined by the one, the only Coach Frank Salvo, who's killing it with fire. Welcome to the show, Frankie.
Hey everyone, thanks for hosting.
What's up, man? So how's your day going so far?
It's going very well. I can't complain. Every day's a good day.
Especially when you love what you do.
Exactly. Can't complain.
No, not at all. So Frank, obviously you're very athletic. You come from a very athletic background, and you were talking before about how you've played ice hockey and then how you transitioned it into personal training. But where did this all start exactly? Was it ice hockey first or training? Like, where does your journey begin?
Well, I actually started playing soccer. I
Okay.
started playing soccer when I was about 6 years old.
Okay.
I played that and I continued on till 12. At 12, I stopped, started playing hockey. I played hockey till 16,
Mm-hmm.
which was when COVID first hit and everything closed. Then I stopped for a little bit. I started training at 16.
Mm-hmm.
And now I continued playing hockey again. But training has been going on since I was 16. Now I'm 21. So it's been over 5 years.
That's really
But
amazing.
now I just got back into hockey.
Oh, are you playing ice again, or is it deck hockey, or
Ice,
both, or just
ice,
ice?
ice,
Okay.
ice. I'm not a fan of ball hockey. It's always been ice. It'll always be ice.
It makes sense. So, you said at the beginning that you started with soccer and then eventually it led to hockey. So, 16 is always that prime year when a lot of adolescents start, getting introduced to weights, or 15. I mean, some have said 14. I think 14 is a little early, but when would you say, because now in your journey, when would you say is the peak age, well, the beginning age to start learning about the gym and weight training?
I don't think, well, when you say to start learning, I don't think there's an age that's too young.
Okay.
I think any age is a good age to start. The earlier, the better.
Hmm.
Obviously, if you're 10 years old, you're not going to be going and trying hitting one rep maxes, right? That's not what you want to do. But as you get older, you could start going with heavier weights, start going with lower rep range,
Hmm.
and then that's when you could really start progressing. But as long as you have that knowledge, the more knowledge, the better. So if you start earlier, why not?
I mean, I got introduced to weight training at 15 years old, but the trainer I had was a little too intense. He wasn't based on form. It was just basically, we're going to increase the reps today and we're going to go to the maximum. And in my head,
At 15?
yeah, at 15, I was like, yeah,
Okay.
this is not the way to go. So now the trainer I have is he's in my area because like Firefit's far from me, but I still like what they do with the team they have. But my trainer, he's like, no, he goes, you should have been learning the form first. You cannot like just lift heavy. He goes, you've just been. He's like, you have to really start with the form. It's always the form, and then you increase the weights. And I think that's a mistake a lot of people, not a lot, but a few can end up making.
Well, I think especially at young ages, most people, right? Because there's a lot of ego lifting, right?
Hmm.
We all know that. But I think especially at young ages, there's always the little kids that want to be cool. So they want to lift the most weight possible. So that's when I think most people are most likely to get hurt. Since
Hmm.
they want to look cool, they want to lift heavy. And that's when when they let go of the idea that form is important.
Hmm. That makes sense, and that can always lead to a lot of problems overall. Like if you keep, injuries, bad posture. I'm sure you've seen it in your journey since you've become a personal trainer.
I have, yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So obviously, it's never, you said foundation is always good to learn at a young age instead of like trying to go for the one instead of ego lifting. And when you were playing hockey, when you were introduced to it, what was the kind of trainings that they had you doing from 12 years old to before you got introduced to 16?
I never trained before that. When I was playing sports, all I did was play sports.
Okay.
I never played at a competitive level where the coaches were saying you have to do this, you have to do this. I never had a coach.
Mm-hmm.
So it was always just, it was competitive, but it was
Hmm.
for fun, if you understand what I'm saying.
Yes.
It wasn't like I was playing AAA or anything like that. The highest I went was A.
Mm-hmm.
So it was always just more casual. Obviously, I still wanted to win, but training was never part of hockey. It was always separated.
That makes sense. Okay. And when you started playing hockey, because you're pretty young, you're now 21 years old, so you're definitely a Gen Zer. I'm a millennial. Not it's just to say because we were talking about this earlier, and obviously on the baseball cap, it's the Penguins. You're a lifelong Penguins fan. How did you get introduced to the Penguins? What led to?
That's a really good question. I don't know because everyone in my family is Habs fans,
Mhm.
but I think the reason I'm a Pittsburgh fan is because of Crosby, obviously.
Mhm.
Who doesn't love Crosby? If you're a Pittsburgh fan, you're obviously a Crosby fan. But that's the way I got introduced. It wasn't like someone said, "Oh, I never saw Pittsburgh before." I I just came about. I saw Crosby. I'm like, that's gonna be my team.
Mhm.
But this happened at a very young age, so
It,
I just stayed with them forever. Never
Exactly. Like
changed.
for me, it's like I've been on quite a journey. Like sometimes, like my some of my friends, you're such a bandwagon, you just go on these teams. It's like, listen, I like players. What can I say? But now it's like I'm settled down. But no, it's like that. It's always that one player. It seems that you just makes you go, okay, I'm following
Exactly.
the sport and the team.
It's always that one. For me, the latest, if anything, it's Connor McDavid. He's
Very
been catching
normal.
my eye on an incredible player. I don't think I'm going to be an Oilers fan, but he's still an incredible player, and it's worth the watch. Like I enjoy watching the game just because of him.
For me, it would have to be Kirill Kaprizov on the Wild. That guy is just a Russian tank. The way he sees the ice. And my cousin, shout out to my cousin Jeremy. He's the one that said, "Watch for Kirill Kaprizov. This player is in the same draft as McDavid. He's going to be as good as McDavid, the Russian version." Well, he's not a McDavid because
But
McDavid's
still good.
basically a video game, but he's still very good. So everyone watch Kirill Kaprizov if you want to see an amazing Russian hockey player. I love Russian players. I'm on that Russian gas. So yeah, it's always the Russian. I just love their personality, man. Like the Russians are different. They're just a different animal.
I mean, they're good. They're good. Malkin is Evgeny Malkin in Pittsburgh is also Russian,
Yeah.
but
Oh, he's amazing. He was one of my
always gonna
favorites.
be a Canadian fan.
No,
All
he
the
was
Canadian
like,
players, I'd rather that.
yeah, I know what you mean. I mean, now I mean Canada. Like I mean, we used to have a great World Junior team. Did you ever follow the World Juniors too, or not?
I never did, but this
Okay.
year, obviously, I saw that they lost to Latvia. I
Mm-hmm.
watched the game
Mm-hmm.
in shock, but I didn't really care that much. But
Yeah.
it was entertaining. I watch hockey because it's entertaining, not
Yes.
because I really care about those teams.
Mm-hmm.
If it's on my team, I don't. I just watch it for the entertainment.
Fair, very fair. So now at 16, you get introduced to weight training. And who was it and where was it that you got introduced? So yeah, the who, what, where, how.
Who, what, where, how?
Yeah,
Who?
yeah.
There's no who. I can't tell you who. I
Okay,
didn't really know anybody that weight trained. That was the first one. Nobody did it in my family. Nobody.
okay,
My friends didn't really do it either. For where? It was Pro Gym at Hochelaga,
okay. The old one, right, or the
and
new one?
the old one at Hochelaga. The new one's on Angelier.
Yes.
I That was always my favorite gym. It
Hmm.
still is. Pro Gym's always my favorite gym. I was introduced there, and it's just the atmosphere is different over there because everyone's training hard.
Hmm.
It's not like if like I don't want to throw shade on Econo Fitness or places like that, but it's a different atmosphere, right? If you go to Pro Gym, you'll hear people grunting. You'll see them training hard. It's different, and I love that atmosphere. Everyone's bigger than you too, so it's humbling, and it's like you want to get to that level because they're at that level, so it's inspiring as well. That's the difference, and that's what I really enjoy about there.
I would agree with you. It's always those old school 80s style, early 90s style gyms. It's that atmosphere that brings you back in time to when it's just hard work now. Because, like, yes, we're going to have to show, I'm going to throw some shade at Econo when I'm there. Like, I see some of the
Okay.
influencers with their tripods, like, doing their selfies. And it's like, are you here to train or are you here to make a TikTok? What's the deal here? I'm short on time, man. I got to use this machine before my shift starts because I'm a morning guy for my workouts. So I see what you mean. There's no nonsense in pro gym.
Exactly. Or even the times that I went, I always went in the morning like you.
Hmm.
If you go early morning, there's no nonsense because no one's there going at 5, 6 a.m. because they just want to be there to have fun, right? If you're there to have fun, you're going at 2 p.m., you're going at 5 p.m. You're going at the convenient times. You're not waking up early to go. So that also plays a big role.
So you're an AM morning guy like
Yes,
myself.
100%.
It's like sometimes
100%.
it's hard to push it, but I feel like when I wake up and I have that first sip of coffee and then like I have that water, it's like okay, it's go time, and I take my vitamins, and I just feel like everyone's schedule is different, But I do feel there's like a difference when you're able to do that AM training.
I mean, not only that, but when you start in the morning, you'll feel refreshed afterwards. You'll
Hmm.
feel accomplished, and it's going to set a tone for the rest of your day. And you're going to feel good, right?
Hmm.
If you go at the end of the day, still good. Obviously, any time is better than
No
than none.
time.
Exactly. But if you're going at night, you're going to go there, the gym's going to be packed. 100% the gyms are always packed at 5 p.m. There's no way about it, and there's no other way about it. If you go in the morning, it's going to be emptier and you'll have the time. And always, if you go at night, there's always something that comes up. I don't know about you, if you ever skip the morning workout and try to go later, but if you go later, I find, and I find for everyone else, there's always something that comes up because not everyone in the world understands that you have to go work out. So they say, "Oh, can you do this? Can you do this?" And then there's things that come up,
I agree.
chores, whatever.
And I feel my focus in the gym at nighttime is not good. It's like I'm just there basically. I'm going through the motions. Whereas like if I'm doing my martial arts training, I'm more in the zone there because it's not like you're there like with people, like you're doing the same thing. It's like that camaraderie. So I understand what you mean. There's a big difference to get it done in the morning, and everyone's priorities are different. But I'm a big proponent of do it in the morning. Get that 45 minutes to an hour in. It's only 4% of your day, really.
I agree. I'll wake up at any time just to go in the morning. But the hard part is waking up. But as soon as you're up, it's easy. It's just all a mindset. As soon as you get up, it's easy for the rest of the day.
Hmm.
It's just that first 10 minutes of actually getting out of bed. That's the hardest part. But once you're out of bed, you're out of bed.
There's no point in going back to hitting snooze. Sometimes I have a bad habit of hitting snooze, but I try not to. I try not to hit it too much. Like even on the weekend, like I always try to wake up at the same time, 6 a.m. Monday to Friday. Saturday, Sunday is a bit different because I try to train. I do train 6 times a week now, and but the seventh day is Sunday just to relax. It's always like 7 a.m., maybe sometimes 7:15, but it's just better to get out of bed when that alarm hits.
I agree. Because if you put a snooze, it's just never going to end. One snooze, two snooze, three snoozes, right? What's the difference? You press one, it's over.
Very true. That's very true. So when you get up in the morning, because I mean, I want to ask you this because everyone's different. Some say don't drink coffee in the morning; it's a diuretic. Because you urinate your minerals out that you need. Some say no, take the coffee if you really want to have that stimulant effect. For me, I'm the kind of guy that will have water first with my 2 capsules of vitamin D and then a multivitamin, and then I'll have the coffee just to wake up. What's your style for the before going to the gym in the morning?
Well, it depends. If it's for the gym, I might have some pre-workout or some caffeine in that sense,
Hmm.
just to have that elevated performance.
Okay.
But if it's not to go to the gym, I will not have any caffeine. I will not have anything,
Oh,
just
okay.
because I don't need it. You know, I'd
Hmm.
rather get up and without that caffeine, because what I believe is that if you adjust yourself to always needing that caffeine every time you wake up, your body's always going to need it,
Hmm.
and then it's just never enough, right? So it's like heroin. It's like drug addicts. What they do is they put a little bit, and then they get used to that little bit. Then they'll need a little bit extra to continue feeling that stimulus and that actual euphoric effect. It's the same thing. So that's why I chose to never have it at all, unless
Unless,
it's for performance reasons.
or like after the workout, like with your breakfast, even, or you're not a coffee guy, are you?
No, I'm not a coffee guy.
One of the rare ones, or maybe you're. Yeah, I can't live without caffeine. I mean, especially like the tea caffeine. There's a big difference in the kick for the between the tea and the coffee.
But you understand what I'm saying, right?
Yes,
With the caffeine.
it's a dependent. Like I've seen people that like man, like I've seen like my colleagues at my job. They like there's some I'm like, how many coffees is that? They're like, oh, this is like my fourth one. I was like, okay, that's a lot. So that dependency,
Exactly.
yeah, it's really it becomes like an addiction. Like, and it's not good because then the crashes are always terrible.
Exactly. That's why I chose to never have it. So I would never be at that point.
Hmm. That makes that's very true. So obviously you start, working at Hochelaga, working out at Hochelaga, you're training, you're learning. And when did it start to formulate that you said to yourself, okay, I want to become a personal trainer now?
Oh, it's been a while. I mean, it's not been a while. It's only been a year that I'm a personal trainer. A
Okay.
little over a year. I started about, yeah, it's a little over a year now.
Hmm.
Anyways, so at first when I started,
Hmm.
I didn't know what I wanted to do,
Okay.
right? I was in college for psychology. I graduated that, said, you know what? this is not what I want to do for the rest of my life. I enjoyed learning it, enjoying exploring the human brain is very interesting to me, everyone's behaviors.
Hmm.
And then I said, I don't want to do that for the rest of my life. What am I going to do? So then I decided to take a bunch of science courses so that in university I would have all my options open
Hmm.
so I could do whatever I want. And then that's more when I went into, right now I'm in exercise science
Okay.
in Concordia. So then that's when I transferred over to that. I said, you know what? What I want to do is be a personal trainer,
Hmm.
and I'm going to take this step forward. And I really don't necessarily need that degree in Concordia to be a personal trainer,
Hmm.
obviously. I'm doing it without the degree yet, but it's that extra level of education that I want just in case I change my mind and I want to do, I want to train a sports team, a professional sports team or something. I always want to have that extra knowledge
Hmm.
so that I could give my clients or give the sports team, whatever it is, the best results possible.
Interesting. That's great. So, hey, education does play a role, and you kept your options open.
Exactly. And I'm very happy I did. At
Yeah.
first, I didn't want to go to university, and then I'm happy I am now. I really am.
You know what? It's the same thing, man. There's something like because for those because we have CEGEP, which is like our college, and then there's university, and CEGEP is kind of like our version of high school mixed with American college you see on TV. But when you go to Canadian university, it's kind of like you're going to a job without getting paid, and it's like it's such a difference. It's not it's I know the feeling, man. That first year of university, I hated my university experience. I still got my degree, but if I could go back in time, I just want to relive my CGEP years. Just wiser now, but it'd be fun
I,
to
I
see.
I'm enjoying uni. I don't know. For me, it's just I love learning. I
Hmm.
love gaining extra knowledge so that I can apply that knowledge. That's just how I am. The
Are
more
you
knowledge, the better for me.
are you at the downtown campus or Loyola campus?
Loyola.
That's why the Loyola campus is the best. Okay, you know what? I had the downtown campus. That's probably why I did not like it. So I
But
say environment plays a role.
I'm sure it does. But
Yeah.
the Loyola campus is harder to get to because
Yes.
it's further. Obviously, depending where you live.
Yeah.
But I live in the East End,
Hmm.
so in order for me to get
Oh
there,
man.
it's far. So
You must be like shooting yourself, especially well, not shooting yourself. You must be like, you just must be like, be going like, what the hell? Because especially coming from the East End, if there's a stoppage on the metro or something, you must be like, what the? It's like I'm losing my mind here, and you have to all the buses. It's not easy.
it is what it is. It is what it is. What can I do? I'm not gonna complain about something I can't change.
It's a process. No, I get it, but I mean, for studying though, I always say the Loyola campus was the best one. I enjoyed my
Okay.
time studying there. I felt like it was like an actual campus you would see on like say TV or like in a movie. That's what I like about it.
Well, I mean, yeah, downtown's not the same because you have all the buildings, you have all office buildings, everything. It's not like a school, you know? You just have a random building and it says Concordia or JMSB, you know?
Yes,
It's not the same.
that's
This
very
is a
true.
whole sector of just school. That's the difference.
So you keep your options open and then you start, and it's only been a year now. And when you were studying, did you decide to pursue the certification of personal trainer like during COVID, or was it like right after everything ended, basically?
It was during college, during
Hmm.
CSHEP. I said, I'm going to do this personal training because
Hmm.
that's what I think I want to do.
Okay.
So I said, you know what? Let me get the certification and I'll do it. And then I started that. I was really enjoying it.
Hmm.
Then that's when I moved on and I said, let me go to university and get a degree. That was the time frame. So I was in CEGEP, I did my psychology, and then while doing my science courses in CEGEP, I was getting my CPT as well with all my
Okay.
other certifications.
Okay, that's excellent. That's excellent. And then, so you started like, and then once you got your certifications, did you start experimenting at Pro Gym? Or how does it work with Pro Gym if you're a personal trainer? Do you have to kind of tell them, like, hey, I'm a personal trainer and this is what's going on? Or did you just go in and start training people right away?
Well, I never started training people at Pro Gym. I never trained anybody at Pro Gym.
Okay.
How it works at Pro Gym is it's the same thing like a lot of gyms. You have to pay rent,
Okay.
and then you bring your clients, and that's how it works.
Right. Right. Okay. So you just started sharpening your knowledge and craft in Pro Gym while doing this, and then eventually you decided to say, okay, now I'm ready to take it to the next level, and I'm ready to go somewhere where I can build my brand.
Well, the first place I started, well, Pro Gym was just for me training
Okay.
myself, and then the first place I started training others was BuzzFit.
Okay.
BuzzFit and
BuzzFit.
Celine. Yes, exactly.
Wow. Okay.
I never liked it, so that's why I left, and then I went to Firefit.
Okay. And how did that meeting happen with, like, say, Matt and John there? Like, what happened there?
I I was clueless because it was my first time ever going to a private gym, right? I
Okay.
didn't know how it worked. I said, how does it work if I'm here? Like how does like do how does a private gym work? I never knew. So anyways, Jay explained it to me and I joined.
Amazing. You have a great team there with like them, Mo. I think L is recently now the new coach there too. So I'm not sure, but I think it's you four mainly, which is Matt, Jay, Mo, and you, right? It's the main four you guys.
Exactly.
Okay, perfect. And one thing that you started doing that I really like was recently to get yourself out there. You're doing these whiteboard explanations, which I think is amazing. And it's not like some edited, photoshopped reel for attention. It's like actual knowledge. So, what led to the whiteboard idea?
So if you look back on my page,
Okay.
I posted a lot of content that was just let's say 10-second reels, 30-second
Mm-hmm.
reels, whatever it was, just for entertainment kind of.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes knowledge. And the reason I was doing that was because I thought that was the way to get more followers, progress my brand, get more views.
Okay.
But that's not what I wanted to do. That's not what I wanted to post. It's
Mm-hmm.
just what I thought would do well. You understand?
Yes.
And then I said, you know what? I don't care what what I think is going to do well. I want to do what I want to do.
Yeah.
So when I'm doing what I want to do, the right audience is going to come to me, and then that's when I'll actually enjoy posting content
Mm-hmm.
and get the views because I'm doing what I want to do, and then eventually the right people are going to see it. That's why I started this whiteboard content. Because, like I was saying earlier, I love knowledge, I love learning, and this too. If I'm teaching everyone, what's that doing to me? It's making me smarter, right? If I'm teaching others, I'm becoming smarter in the process.
Mm-hmm.
So I truly just enjoy teaching others, learning myself. That's why I'm doing this. And if you look, they're long videos. So I'm sure there's a lot of people that don't watch them, but I don't mind because I'm sure it's going to reach the right audience. Whoever wants to watches them watches them.
That's the trick. I mean, that's something too I've realized like with my niche as well, which is like martial arts niches. Like I'm learning with reels, like collaboration tagging is amazing because that really does help. And also some put like a million hashtags, but I think you just need to have a few and then that's where the right audience will come.
I think so too. But even like for both of us, if you look at martial arts, you look at fitness, there's so many creators. So if you're just doing something to try and get views, then I don't think it's going to work because you're just following a trend and there's so many people that are doing that trend. It's like, why would they watch you, you know? So
Exactly.
do what you want to do at the end of the day.
That's the thing. Like what I had to do when I started my channel and my niche was I had to like do a brainstorming. It's like, and everyone says, okay, I want like something you can monetize off this, and that. You have to be realistic that that can take time, and everyone's trajectory is different. Like I like what I do because I just genuinely like it, and if you love it genuinely without wanting to without thinking of the monetization, you're gonna succeed in the long run. That's where it is. My philosophy is I don't rush things. I used to do that, but I realized that's what those are others' expectations. My expectation is, do I truly love what I'm doing enough? That's the question I think everyone has to ask themselves with what they do as a niche.
I agree. I think if you love what you're doing, it's going to end up working. Because if you're just forcing yourself to do something, then it's not going to end up working. Same thing as the gym. If you're going to the gym saying, I'm hating this, it's not going to work. You're not going to go back.
No,
Like you might go for a week, you might go for 2 weeks. You're not going to continue. It's just, there's no point. Find what you like to do and do it.
very
Whether
true.
that's, if it's bodybuilding, if it's CrossFit, if it's calisthenics,
Mhm.
figure out what you like to do. Don't try and say, oh, this is what a lot of people are doing online. That's not gonna work.
When it comes to nutrition, that's a big thing because, the cliche seeing is you can't out train a bad diet. I think it's very true because you could only do it for so long until everything catches up with you and you're getting diminished returns. When you're training your clients, how do you work with nutrition on them? Is it a case by case basis or do you take a cookie cutter approach?
Well, I've actually never done any nutrition programs for
Okay.
anybody.
Okay.
It's something that I've been looking into now.
Okay.
Well, looking into for a little bit, but I haven't implemented it yet. Because I never wanted to do something where it was like, I'm going to do it and it's going to kind of be half-assed.
Hmm.
If I'm doing something, I'm going to do it right. I'm not going to do something and push it out there, give it to my clients when it's not good.
Right.
Like obviously when I'm training them, if they want, they could text me, whatever. I could give advice on what I think they should be eating, if they needed calorie tips or whatever. That's a different story. But I've never actually given a program, if you
Okay.
understand what I'm saying. A
Yeah.
meal plan.
That's more in depth. So, because I think some people, like, when in terms of like calorie counting, some people don't count their calories, some do. I mean, for me now, I'm starting to do it. Like, I just dug up my old kitchen scale because, like, I'm working with someone. I have like a nutritionist now that's helping me understand that because I'm a big eater. I'm a chunky boy. Like, I love food. It's tough, man. I have a big sweet tooth, but it's about making those habitual changes. And when you work with someone, like, I mean, as you said, you're not a meal prep guy,
I
but do you try to help them change their habits a bit, at least to like, look, this is maybe what you should do?
For sure. I think it's very important for you to count your calories,
Mm-hmm.
at least for a little bit.
Yeah.
I'm not saying for the rest of life or for years and years you're going to count calories. What I'm saying is, I think you should be counting calories so you understand what's in the food you're eating.
Mm-hmm.
And then once you understand what's in the food you're eating, you don't need to always take that scale out and measure because you can have an idea by looking at your plate how much protein, carbohydrates, fats, calories are in there. That's what's important.
Mm-hmm.
What you don't want is to have no idea what you're eating and be
Mm-hmm.
clueless. That's when you have the bad results.
Mm-hmm.
That's when you have, let's say, fat gain or weight loss, whatever it is. You understand what I'm saying?
Yes, I do. I do. It kind of gives an idea, like, because, and in that way you could see how much you could take in, how much your body can be, can it handle this amount? Will it cause inflammation? Will you feel more bloated and tired? So those are the kinds of things, yeah, I see where you see calorie counting can help.
It's more about understanding what you're eating than actually counting each macro.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's like those small habits that do help eventually. Like some people could do calorie counting for 4 months, or just an example, and that will probably help them in the long run say, okay, now I know what my body needs. Now, to follow up with that, because you said you're a student of, you have a degree in psychology. Um, One thing that I want to ask about, if you're familiar with, this is something I saw in one of those fitness magazines, like I think Men's Health. They said that there's something psychological when people use a blue plate, something with the color blue. It kind of makes the brain say, okay, maybe I should eat less. Have you heard of these kinds of trends? Like where,
I've never heard of this. No,
wow, I gotta find
I've
like,
never, I've never, not just saying in school. I've never heard of it online. I've never seen it before.
really?
So
Okay.
you're saying, what are you saying? If someone sees the color blue, you think they're gonna eat less? That's
Well,
the
the article
the
just have,
psychological.
yeah, it's something to say with the color blue, like it makes them kind of like not consume more after, like it helps like with like going for seconds and third servings, if I remember, and it has something to do with like when the eyes see the color blue. It's something really weird. I'm just paraphrasing, but it was in, I believe, Men's Health or Muscle and Fitness, one of those two magazines that I used to read all the time.
Okay, I've never heard of that. I've never heard of that. So I can't give you my opinion on it.
Maybe you've heard of this one, eating with like your less dominant hand. Like you put the fork in like your less dominant hand, and that kind of can help too with like eating slower and consuming the food better.
Eating slower for sure.
Hmm.
Eating slower for sure will help. The less dominant hand, I've never heard of that, but thinking of it, it makes sense, right? Because if you're eating with your opposite hand, you're kind of gonna be, I don't want to say annoyed, but it's gonna be less fun to eat because you're gonna have to think about actually putting it in your hand every time, and you have to think about that coordination.
Hmm.
So I think that could actually be a good trick.
I'm trying to do it more now, slowly. It's
You eat
tough.
with your non-dominant hand,
I'm a righty. That's my dominant hand. So my left hand is my non-dominant hand.
so you eat with your left.
I try.
Okay,
It's sometimes it's like I'm like, oh, I'm gonna do it, then it's like, no, I'm just gonna eat with my right hand, and yeah, but it's a process. It's habits take time to learn.
but then by that time you're gonna be good with your other hand, and you're gonna be ambidextrous, and it's not gonna matter because it's gonna be the same.
I know that's the thing, so it won't make a difference. What I said earlier about fitness magazines, where I read this, what are your thoughts on these like magazines, like say Men's Health, Men's Fitness, because or Women's Health, Women's Fitness, like they seem to have great ideas, but part of it tells me, okay, these are all like paid ads and all that. Like it's not really, they're just selling you something.
Okay, I think I'm a little too young for that
Okay.
because I'm only 21, right? So I've never really paid attention to any magazines.
Okay.
Everything has been online for me.
Okay.
Anything I learn is online. I've never looked at a magazine for nutrition tips or bodybuilding tips or whatever, you know?
Right.
So I can't really talk about that,
Hmm.
but what you're saying, it does make sense. If they're paying for that space, I don't think there's anybody really looking at it and saying, I mean, I don't know how men's health and fitness works.
Hmm.
I don't know if they have, let's say, a moderator or whatever you want to call it,
An
someone that looks
editor,
at it
something
and
like that.
exactly someone that's looking at the information and making sure it's correct. Or if it's just that if you pay, you're on it. I don't know how it works,
Hmm.
but
Interesting.
it's something to look into.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think when we could take it to the web, man, the web, there's so much,
There's so much.
and some of it's not even, it's like such false, like you'll see like some of the craziest reels ever, and it just
Some
makes,
is so stupid. It's like, I don't know. Like, how did you even think of this? You know?
what is one of the dumbest things you've ever seen that just stuck with you that you're like, I'm never gonna forget, this lives rent free in my head?
There's so much online that's stupid. I can't give you one thing. I can't give you one thing. For me, look, I'll say for me, it does help though,
Hmm.
because I've been in this space for a long time
Hmm.
and I feel like I'm pretty well educated.
Hmm.
That if I see something that's stupid, I'm not going to believe it,
Hmm.
right? If a lot of people are new to the space, they're going to see something that's stupid. And you see, let's say you see a bigger guy saying, like a muscular guy or a lean guy, fit guy, whatever you want to call them, a strong guy, saying something stupid, you're going to believe them because you're going to say, oh, he's strong. He must be smart. You
Hmm.
understand? So I think it's tougher when you're newer because you look at everything and you're so susceptible and you see something that's not right and you don't know it's not right, but it's not your fault, right? There's no way you could know. That's the issue.
I definitely agree. You just don't know, and it's so. Whereas when you've been in the space for a while, you kind of become accustomed to vetting better to see, okay, this is legit. This is not. This is a scam. This is not true. So I think with experience, you learn how to vet the process better.
Exactly. And especially for me, something that really helped me
Hmm.
was because I take anatomy courses, so
Okay.
I know like all the muscles, insertions, everything where they're located, everything. So a lot of the things make absolutely no sense to me that used to sorry they make sense to me now that they used to make no sense back then.
Hmm.
And it's like back then I thought this could be the case. Like I'll give you an example. Like one of them, when you know you see online when they say overhead extensions
Hmm.
are going to be working the this head of the tricep,
Yeah.
the lateral head, and it's like that's just not the case. If you look at anatomy, it's that's not how it works. But say
It's out there. That's the thing. It's like so then people can believe it and whatnot. But I think it's where the space is becoming better at like seeing who the charlatans are and who the legit players are now. I think it's slowly getting better.
yeah, it is. When you look at good people, it helps. Like if you find someone that's good, stay with them.
Very true. That's very true. So now that you said you're putting your knowledge out there because you love it, and the whiteboard does help because it gives a visual while you're demonstrating the proof and the evidence. What do you feel the next move is, like, in order to grow your brand to become
To
bigger?
grow my brand,
Yeah.
I am not sure. I'm going with the flow. If I'm being honest, whatever happens, happens.
Right. Right. No,
Like
that's
I'm taking it one step at a time. I just introduced these new type of videos.
okay.
I'll see what the next step is. I don't have a plan saying okay I'm going to do this then this then this then this. I'm just going with the flow.
I think it's very smart, the videos, because it's something different, and I think that's the best way to get yourself out there. And plus, you become more comfortable being on camera to reach a wider audience. And I know some are very camera shy, and it does create a lot of stress. But I think the more you do it, that stress goes down, and it just becomes like it just
I agree. Actually, I started my first YouTube channel when I was like 14,
really,
13. So I got kind of got used to it.
yeah,
I
no,
was
for
just posting like these dumb videos, had nothing to do with fitness or anything. So I mean, I kind of got used to it. It's been a while.
you start somewhere. Like even for me, when I started the podcast, I was audio only, and an old show I had, like same story. Like the one thing that I used to really suck with was letting the guest talk, like trying to find that moment to really just hear their thoughts. Because the biggest mistake I see with a lot of podcasts is they'll have a guest on, and while the person is giving their thought, you're like, right, okay. So it's like just let them talk. And I think that leads to better relationships in the long run because you don't want the guy saying, well, it's a great show, but he does have a habit of interrupting his guest, and so I think it's important to just let the guest talk. And that's something I've really learned the hard way along the lines.
I agree. Like even like you do it well. Like we're having a pretty even exchange of who's talking. It's not like you ask a question, I say yes, no. Like you do well as a host.
Thank you. No, it's taking practice, and it's just about really, just about working that muscle. It's like a workout. You just do it. I try to do, and I love this. I love this tool, Riverside. It's so much better than Zoom because it keeps it on a cloud. It doesn't go onto my computer, and it like takes up storage. So that's what makes it much easier now, and I just love it. It's just fun. Like I was telling you before, like it's remote, but eventually I do plan to do in person. But that's gonna take time. You just gotta add. It's like body. It's like training. You add to it eventually.
Exactly. Little steps make big improvements
That's how
over
it's gotta.
time.
That's how it's gotta be. You have. I think we try. I think as a Western society, we try to look at the big wins too much when we have to look at the small wins that lead to the big
Exactly.
wins.
Especially with the new year now, 2025. New year, new me. Everyone tries to change everything drastically. It never works. Like change something small and then add a little small thing, another small thing, another small thing, and you'll get the results.
I like to do.
Trying to change everything at once is not gonna work.
No, I like to do quarterly. I like to do from January through March. That's Q1. Then what's gonna come from Q2 to Q3, Q3 to and so forth. I think quarterly works for me. Maybe people like to do monthly, and that works too. Everyone's different, but don't guys, don't do the new year, new me all at once. You're gonna crash and burn. I did that last year, and I crashed and burned by July.
July, that's pretty good. Most people, if anything, I'd say they crash and burn just after January, February. February they say, oh, like January they say, okay, I'm gonna go to gym every day. There's no more junk food, gym every day. And the people saying this are the people that, let's say, they have the worst diet, they never
Yeah.
go to the gym, and they're trying to change everything. And the truth is, it probably lasts like 2 weeks. It just doesn't work.
What happened with me was this. So I went to Japan last year, as you know, like with Mo. And when I got back, so here's what happened. So when I was in Japan at the Sayonara party, that's like the goodbye party after the tournament, one of the Iranians from the Iran karate team was insulting me in Farsi. Like he was like grabbing my cheek and smacking my belly because I was really out of shape. Like I was pushing like 245, 50 pounds in Japan. Like it was really bad. And I was eating like
Okay.
crap. So then when I got back, my uncle at the time, like I had lost a bit of weight because I was walking so much too. The walking in Japan helps. So I was like averaging like 30K steps in Tokyo. But when I got back, my uncle goes, well, you really didn't lose that much weight. So when I told that to Momo, I was like, well, use that for your fire. And because of the Japanese food, like I was so not used to eating North American food for a while. I just went on like, I said, I'm doing a carnivore diet, but I was just cutting out as much processed food as possible, and it was working. And I went down from I was 225 when I got back from Japan. Then I went down to 219 pounds by March, and I was holding at like 216 or so. And then after that, there's some family tragedies that happened, and there's a lot of changes at work that caused me to stress, and it just kind of like stagnated. And so yeah, that's what happened. I was trying to aim for my brown belt too fast, and amongst other things, so it just kind of crashed and burned. So now it's like, okay, let's do it quarterly now. Let's not do everything at once.
I agree. Like we've been saying, slow changes.
I think you realize that as you get older. Some don't, but everybody's different. Like some, it's like some are like will do the changes when they're younger, and not when you're not when they're younger. When you're young, you're full of energy and enthusiasm. But as you get older, you kind of learn with experience how to like space
For
everything
sure.
out.
For sure.
And I'm sure you've seen that as a 21-year-old yourself. I mean, now you're 21. And imagine back then, you're like, I'm trying to do this, I'm trying to do that, and it's like you want everything now. But I think time is the best teacher to say, slow down.
I used to be the same. Like you were saying, everything now, everything has to be now. But that's just not the case. And I still have that issue. Like
Yeah.
if I want something, it has to be like it has to be done, you know?
Hmm.
But I'm trying and get better at the fact that let's be patient. Everything takes time. You're not gonna you're not gonna be perfect right away.
Hmm.
That's my biggest issue. I'm just trying to perfect something right away, but that's just not how it works.
Right.
So I've been improving that.
So, what is the plan for 2025? I mean, look, we just started now, but I mean, it seems like what's your plan for 2025 this year, like with your training and also as a trainer and with like your studies?
Well, I for sure want to advance my trainer
Okay.
career.
Okay.
I want to gain more clients. I want to increase my social media reach.
Right.
That's one. If you were talking about business, that's what I want to do for business.
Hmm.
I mean, it's very general, but I don't really have a specific goal saying, oh, I want 10,000 followers, 100,000 followers. I'm not going to say that because I'm taking one step at a time, just watching the process unfold. If we're talking about business, that's the business.
Hmm.
Um, Continue with my studies. Then, if we're talking about training and fitness, obviously, I want to continue getting bigger, stronger, leaner. But one thing I have been flirting with was the idea of doing an Ironman,
Oh.
and I've been talking about it for a year now. At first, this started because I got into running.
Hmm.
What I wanted to do a Spartan race, so I got into running. I wanted to lose weight, so I did my first Spartan race last summer.
Hmm.
Then when I did that, I really enjoyed it, and I said, you know what? I kind of want to do an Ironman. And that's the thing with me is I set those big goals. I don't like doing these like I don't know. For me, I don't set these little tiny goals,
Hmm.
which could be an issue. But the way I do it is I set these big goals and I try and achieve them. So the goal is not this year because I've been training, so I can't do it this year. Like I've been training for it. I've been running. I've been whatever this year, and then the goal is for next summer, if anything.
Interesting.
Yeah,
Interesting. That's awesome, man. Well, the Iron Man, I say go for it. Can't it doesn't I mean or like yes, there's like people I see people say I want to start a Spartan, I want to start the Iron Man or just something, and it's like that competition just gives you something to look forward to stay disciplined.
exactly. It's completely different for me because running wouldn't be the hardest thing for me.
Hmm.
Obviously, it's going to be tough because you're biking and swimming before running. The issue is that I think I would have to get a swimming coach
Hmm.
because I've never really swam before. Like I know how to swim average, like I'm an
Right.
average swimmer, but to actually get good and
Hmm.
be able to swim in the Ironman, I think I would have to learn from someone, and it just takes time and effort.
Interesting. Yeah, it's just about putting the time in and to make sure you're well prepared and then just saying I did it. Like that's the real one. It's not like placing first, second, or third. It's about just doing the best you can.
Well, I'm obviously not going to place first, second, third the first time I do it, and that's not my goal at all. I just want to get to a point where it's like, okay, I trained all this effort, I put all this effort into it, and I actually succeeded, and I completed the race.
Amazing. Amazing. Well, Frankie, I really want to say thank you for coming on, man. Like, it was really fun to do this. You're doing great stuff. Keep it up. You're young. You have a lot of time on your side. So I'm positive you're going to continue utilizing it to its maximum to grow as a trainer and whatnot. So where can people connect with you on social if they want to, like, if they want to, like, work with you or just see what you're doing?
Well, if you want to, first of all, thank you for having me. I appreciate it. Happy to be here. If you want to look at me on social media, my channel is fsalvo_coaching. That's my Instagram. I don't really post on YouTube or TikTok, so it's pretty much just Instagram if you want to connect with me.
Amazing. All right, guys. Well, make sure to hit the like, share, subscribe button to the Drew Experience. Follow Frankie. He's doing really big things. He's young, so there's plenty, and he's got time on his side. So make sure to check out his stuff and work with him. So, Frankie, I want to thank you so much for coming on and keep up the amazing work.
Thanks again. Thanks, everyone. Have a good day.